After the intense events of the previous episode, the story is about to take a brand new turn. So without wasting any time, let's continue the journey. The scene opens with a breathtaking view of planet Earth from deep space. Suddenly, a massive, dark asteroid surrounded by floating debris emerges, moving ominously toward the blue planet. On the ground, inside a research station tucked amidst green hills at sunset, three researchers stare in utter shock at their computer screens. One of the senior scientists adjusts his heavy telescope, looking through it intently before speaking through a microphone. His voice tense with worry as he says, "What is this?" Up in space, a satellite station is orbiting the Earth. An astronaut in full gear is actively communicating, stating, "Now we are entering the docking procedure." From the other side, his colleague confirms, "Roger that." As they proceed, the astronaut suddenly notices a giant rock glowing in the dark expanse of space. The intense light of the incoming meteor reflects directly onto his helmet's visor, leaving him gasped and stunned. Back on Earth, the bustling headquarters of a control center is filled with personnel working frantically at their desks. On the main digital mapping screens, a red trajectory line shows the asteroid's path changing drastically. One of the officers loudly commands, "Change the Torino scale from 8 to 9. The gravity of the situation triggers an urgent meeting in a formal boardroom where high-ranking officials sit around a large oval table. A digital map zooms into the targeted location, showing the trajectory leading directly towards Z City, bypassing D City and E City. In the meeting room at the Hero Association headquarters in A City, an official notes grimly, "The orbit has changed suddenly." Another executive responds calmly, "But seriously, I understand. Then we will also think of whatever measures we can take from our side." Meanwhile, inside a quiet apartment, the cyborg hero Genos is on a phone call, listening closely. He responds, "Should I go now? I understand." Hanging up, he walks into the living room where his master, Saitama, is casually lying on the floor, surrounded by manga books. Genos addresses him, saying, "Master, for some reason, I have been summoned by the Hero Association. So, I am going for a bit." Saitama simply waves his hand nonchalantly without looking up, responding lazily, "Oh, maybe you are getting fired." Haha. Genos then walks out onto the city streets, looking up at the bright blue sky, where a sharp, glistening light from the approaching meteor can already be seen shining through the clouds. The scene starts with a sweeping view of City Z, specifically highlighting the Hero Association branch, an imposing dark structure nestled among towering skyscrapers. Inside the grand lobby, under a brightly lit glass ceiling, a young cyborg named Genos enters holding a large suitcase. As he walks across the polished, checkered floor, an elderly man named Bang approaches him. Bang introduces himself with a calm demeanor, greeting the young hero, who recognizes him as Silverfang, the S-Class Rank 3 hero. Genos notes to himself that Bang is a true powerhouse. Genos explains that he was summoned by the association, but Bang reveals that all the staff have fled to the headquarters, leaving this branch completely deserted. Bang adds that apart from the two of them, no other S-Class heroes have responded to the call. When Genos asks for the reason, Bang suggests that some might be too far away or busy with other tasks, while others might simply be avoiding a troublesome situation, as these summons usually involve handling impossible, disastrous problems. Bang turns serious as he explains the current peril, a disaster-level dragon threat. A massive meteor has suddenly changed its trajectory and is heading directly toward Earth, aiming to take down City Z along with it. The old hero states that the impact will completely obliterate the city in just 35 minutes, and the association expects the nearby S-Class heroes to somehow resolve the crisis. He admits that this time, the situation is beyond their control and advises Genos to take his loved ones and evacuate as far away as possible. Genos inquires if the citizens have been informed. Bang explains that while an evacuation warning was supposed to be issued 30 minutes prior, the sudden shift has created chaos. Outside, an emergency broadcast echoes through the streets of City Z, urging citizens to evacuate immediately due to the impending dragon-level threat, stating that the giant meteor will strike in 21 minutes and completely destroy the city. The streets are packed with panicking crowds and gridlock traffic, with people realizing that escape might already be impossible. Back on a rooftop, Genos looks down at the chaotic streets, observing that many citizens seem to have given up hope of survival. He reflects that the impact will not only wipe out City Z, but also devastate the surrounding towns, and fleeing now is no longer a viable option. Determined to act, Genos decides to test a new prototype weapon. He opens his suitcase, activating the arms mode. The mechanical components launch into the sky, hovering above the city before locking onto his arms, transforming his hands into powerful, energy-infused cybernetic gauntlets crackling with electricity. Landing firmly back on the roof, Genos resolves to use his incineration cannons at full power to intercept the meteor, reminding himself that his master also lives in this city, so he cannot simply run away. Suddenly, another figure descends from the sky, landing heavily nearby. Genos identifies the newcomer as Bofoi, who arrives in a massive, heavily armored robotic suit. Bofoi recognizes Genos as the rookie and asks if he is also there to stop the meteor. Genos confirms this, recognizing Bofoi as the S-Class Rank 7 hero, Metal Knight, who is known for using high destructive weaponry regardless of collateral damage. Genos asks for Bofoi's assistance to combine their strength, but Bofoi flatly refuses. When Genos demands to know why, Bofoi explains that he only came to test his new weapon technology and has no personal interest in the fate of the meteor. Genos, shocked and frustrated by the response, warns him that if the meteor strikes, everyone, including Bofoi, will perish. On a rooftop where Genos, the young cyborg hero, stands staring intently at a massive, heavily armed robot. The robotic voice of Metal Knight echoes, stating firmly that he will not die because the entity Genos is speaking to is merely a remotely controlled robot, meaning he isn't risking his life at all. He coldly corrects Genos, explaining that his hero name is Metal Knight, not Bofoi, and that calling a hero by their hero name is basic common sense. Looking up at the sky, the robot notes that they no longer have time to chat. In a sudden flash of movement, Genos leaps across the buildings, flipping dynamically through the air before landing solidly on another rooftop. He immediately begins charging a bright yellow energy source in his mechanical hand, looking up apprehensively at a massive, flaming meteor that is hurtling directly toward the city. Nearby, Metal Knight's robot ignites its powerful thrusters and launches into the sky, unleashing a devastating barrage of missiles aimed straight at the celestial threat. The missiles strike the meteor in a tremendous explosion of fire and smoke, but as the cloud clears, the massive rock emerges completely unscathed. Genos watches in disbelief, realizing that even Metal Knight's immense firepower failed to do anything, and begins to doubt if his own power will only get in the way. As the giant fireball continues its terrifying descent, the intense atmospheric pressure and heat blast across the city. Genos shields his face from the blinding light, acknowledging the sheer danger of the situation and the absolute need to stay on guard. Just then, an old martial arts master named Bang appears calmly behind him on the rooftop, advising the young cyborg to calm down because he can see the deep disturbance in his heart. Bang tells him that he is far too young to be dwelling on failure and suggests that even at the final moment, if one simply does what is appropriate and gives their best, the result will be what it must be. Genos ponders the advice, questioning if doing his absolute best is truly the right path. Suddenly, Saitama appears, standing silently behind them with a completely blank expression. Driven by newfound resolve, Genos grips his arm, tearing away part of his clothing to expose his inner mechanical frame. He pulls out his glowing chest core and locks it into his arm architecture, declaring that if the final result cannot be changed, then he must pour every ounce of his energy into this single moment without hesitation. Turning to the old master, he yells for Bang to take cover. With a fierce cry, Genos unleashes a colossal, blazing beam of yellow energy directly from his core up into the sky, targeting the center of the incoming meteor. He pushes his mechanical body past its absolute limits, screaming in pure agony as blue electricity crackles violently all around him. Watching the spectacular display, Bang wonders aloud in sheer amazement if the boy is actually pushing the giant meteor back. Hearing this, Genos asks if it is really true, but a sweating Bang quickly retracts his statement, admitting it was just his mistake. Annoyed by the false hope, Genos curses the old man as his energy beam struggles against the overwhelming mass of the rock, making him wonder if this rooftop will become his graveyard. The beam finally gives out, and Genos falls heavily to his knees, completely battered, smoking, and physically exhausted on the shattered concrete. With only 9 seconds remaining before impact, a weakened Genos whispers for Bang to run away and save himself. However, Bang simply smiles as Saitama steps forward in his bright yellow suit and flowing white cape. Saitama casually tells the old man that he will handle the rest, prompting a shocked Bang to ask who he is. Saitama simply replies that he is just a guy who is a hero for fun. Genos looks up in awe, whispering for his master. In a spectacular burst of speed, Saitama launches himself high into the sky, flying directly toward the core of the blazing meteor. Pulling back his fist, he screams at the meteor to stop falling on his city and delivers a single devastating punch. The meteor instantly shatters into a brilliant, blinding shockwave of blue and white light. On the rooftop, Bang shields his eyes in total disbelief at the unbelievable sight, but his shock turns to concern as the giant shattered fragments turn into a rain of smaller flaming meteors, causing widespread explosions across the cityscape. As the rooftop begins to cave in, Genos remarks that it is all collapsing, prompting Bang to quickly grab him and leap to safety, noting that the wave of destruction is spreading through the entire town. Saitama drops down from the sky, landing firmly on the pavement below. He stands up and looks around at the burning ruins with a completely deadpan expression, as the situation finally comes to a heavy, chaotic close. The scene starts by showing a city view on a sunny day with some white clouds, and text is written on the screen that translates to 3 days later. Then the camera pans to a destroyed building and a car among the rubble. A news reporter speaks from a television screen about the giant meteor that hit Z City, explaining how the fragments left deep scars across the entire town. Genos is watching this news on the TV and says that at that time, the Hero Association should have asked for help from Master instead of him. He adds that if Master and Metal Knight had worked together, they could have kept the damage to a minimum. Saitama, who is lying on the floor reading a comic book, looks at him and mentions that Metal Knight was a selfish guy and tells Genos not to worry about it, as he believes they did keep the damage to a minimum since no one died. Genos agrees and thinks about how Master's single punch significantly weakened the meteor's momentum. Normally, the impact would have blown everything away, so it can only be called a miracle. He believes Master is a true hero who will be remembered forever. However, Master is unaware that some parts of society are now blaming him for the destruction of Z City, painting him as a villain. Genos feels it is better not to tell him this. Suddenly, Saitama asks if their rankings have gone up. Genos replies that they have. He explains that his rank moved from S class 17 to 16 and Metal Knight's rank moved from S class 7 to 6. He then tells Saitama that his rank jumped significantly from C class 342 to 5. Saitama is completely shocked, yelling in disbelief about his rank jumping all the way to 5. Genos smiles and says it is not surprising considering the situation was a dragon-level threat. He mentions that if there had been no damage, Saitama might have reached S-Class rank 5. He explains that even with just the destruction of the meteor, Master easily deserved to be in the A-Class. But the Hero Association likely gave more credit to Metal Knight and himself. Saitama then points out that the news often refers to disaster levels like Tiger or Dragon and asks if those terms actually mean anything. Genos explains the system. Tiger means a threat to many lives. Demon means a city's functions could stop or be destroyed. Dragon means multiple cities could be destroyed. And God means a threat to the survival of all humanity. Saitama looks at a pamphlet detailing these levels. Genos adds that heroes usually use these ratings to decide whether to deploy, but notes that this system does not matter to Master. Saitama agrees, stating that if a hero runs away, there will be no one left to fight. Genos is deeply moved by these words, quickly gets up, opens his notebook, and begins writing them down frantically. Saitama looks at him, confused, and asks what he is doing. Genos replies that he is writing down his words. Saitama then ponders how his rank could rise so much from just that action, before finally standing up as the video comes to a close. City remains buried beneath mountains of rubble left behind by the meteor disaster. Among the shattered buildings and cracked streets, an angry crowd gathers, searching for someone to blame. Seizing the opportunity, Tank Top Black Hole steps forward and loudly accuses Saitama of being responsible for the destruction. He claims that countless people have lost their homes because of Saitama's actions and insists that someone like him has no right to call himself a hero. His accusations quickly spread through the crowd. One person after another begins to echo his words until the entire gathering erupts into a deafening chant of quit, 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 aimed directly at Saitama. Standing alone in the center of the ruined street, Saitama remains completely expressionless. While the crowd condemns him, Tank Top Tiger watches from a distance with a smug grin, convinced that Saitama's spirit has finally been broken. Elsewhere, Genos silently reads the harsh criticism flooding online forums. Many people believe a low-ranking hero is responsible for the city's suffering. Disappointed by the public's reaction, he closes his eyes in silence. From a nearby rooftop, Bang observes the situation unfold. He knows Saitama saved countless lives that day, yet he understands that public opinion rarely rewards true heroism. Though he deeply respects Saitama's strength, he wonders whether remaining a hero is worth enduring such treatment. The situation suddenly escalates when Tank Top Black Hole leaps into the street and falsely claims that Saitama is about to attack innocent survivors. Together with Tank Top Tiger, he boldly challenges Saitama. Their confidence lasts only a moment. In an instant, Tank Top Tiger is sent flying into the rubble. Tank Top Black Hole attempts to overpower Saitama, but finds his hand firmly caught in Saitama's grip. The arrogant hero immediately breaks down, screaming in pain and confessing that everything he said was a lie. For the first time, Saitama shows genuine anger. With his cape billowing behind him, he loudly declares that he was indeed the one who destroyed the meteor. If anyone has complaints, they can direct them at the meteor itself. He makes it clear that he never became a hero for recognition, praise, or approval. He became a hero simply because he wanted to. The crowd falls silent. As the sun begins to set over the ruined city, Genos joins his master and suggests they head home. Behind them, Tank Top Black Hole continues to grumble from the ground, while Genos expresses his admiration for the man he considers the greatest hero he has ever known. The two walk side by side through the orange glow of the evening sky. Saitama, uncomfortable with the praise as always, casually brushes it aside. As they disappear into the sunset, Genos silently vows to follow his master no matter what the rest of the world thinks of him. With the two continuing their journey together, after the episode comes to an end, the screen opens to a dark and stormy night. Thick clouds race across the sky, occasionally parting to reveal the pale glow of a full moon above a vast, silent ocean. As the waves roll beneath the darkness, a conversation can be heard. One voice remarks that there is apparently an incredibly powerful C-class hero making headlines. Another voice immediately questions the claim, while someone else brings up the rumor about a hero who supposedly destroyed a meteor. A woman dismisses the story as an obvious lie, and another man suggests that the hero probably only targets weak enemies to make himself look impressive. A deeper voice then cuts through the discussion, declaring that there is no such thing as a truly reliable hero. As these skeptical words echo through the night, the scene plunges beneath the ocean's surface. The camera descends into a pitch-black underwater abyss where countless glowing eyes suddenly appear from the darkness, silently watching and hinting at a terrifying threat waiting below. The preview then transitions to the next episode title card. Against a dark background streaked with faint green and yellow hues, a deep, gravelly voice introduces himself as Bofoi, better known as Metal Knight. He proceeds to announce the title of the next episode, The Deep Sea King. Hearing the name, the narrator reacts with curiosity, wondering what kind of powerful enemy could possess such an imposing title. With that question lingering in the air, the screen slowly fades to black, bringing the preview to an end.